In the previous video, we've looked at how to make ourselves safe onto an anchor. We're now going to put somebody onto the end of the rope who needs that added security for them to manage the steeper ground. Up until now, I've used a waist loop tied with an overhand knot, and if I've got more than one person to look after, that can be a faff to adjust. So I'll show you another loop that makes that really efficient. So we'll go for our usual measurements. I'm going to pop the end of the rope level with my knee, run the rope up to level with my collarbone, and now take my hand down, but this time down a single strand. Straighten the arm, and then that is where the overhand knot is going to go. Put it in there. Now then, we're going to tie another knot called the stopper knot, and what's important is it has to go this side of the knot. So in other words, away from the loop that I've created. A good way to think about this is I'm going to put my thumb along the rope, and then with this end tie it onto that rope. So wrap it around once, twice, and I'm wrapping towards my hand. At this point I'm going to take my thumb out and pop the rope through. I'll just gently tighten there, make sure it's all sitting nicely. And again, before I fully tighten up, I'm just going to do that check on the tail of the rope. Okay, I can cinch that in now, nice and snug. And what we have there then is a knot that slides and allows us to create a bigger loop. Because it's bigger, I can now put it over the top of my head, which might be better rather than standing around on one foot. And I can pull that tight. So the adjustment here is I need to move that knot back to my waist so that we can then pull the loop tight. A little bit more. Okay, so again that's snugged in around the waist, nice and tight, but it's not going to pull any further and then squeeze me and constrict my breathing. Very simply then, once I've been managed as somebody who needs to get down the steeper ground, I can then open the loop up, step out of it. It can then be pulled to the top and be ready to put over the next person. This is Ruby rucksack. She's next to descend. So again, the fab thing is very adjustable. So we can now look at how we could actually teach her to make the adjustments so that she can fit it to herself. In this case, I'm going to have to do that for her. So the loop goes around Ruby's waist, and the knot at the moment is sat back here. So I need to find out which way to move the knot. I'm going to pull here, and I can see that this is the sliding rope. So I now need to bring the knot round to this side. Again, Ruby could be doing this for herself, just under your guided instruction. Just starting to pull it tight here, and the important thing is that that knot is going to come up tight against our overhand knot here. So still a little bit loose. Again, we can make those micro adjustments. A bit further back, even more. So this does take a little bit of time, but really important to just pay that attention. Okay, that is really snug. Let's just highlight here then that the only reason that this loop is working is because the stopper is coming up tight against the overhand knot. This would not work without that knot because it would cinch in too tight and stop Ruby from breathing. Never a good thing. I've made the decision here to manage my group down the steeper ground using the body belay. And it's worth mentioning here that the group management is a really important part of things. Unfortunately, Ruby can't help with that today, so we're going to leave that to another video when we've got real people. I've made myself safe onto the anchor. I'm in my brace position, and I've also made sure that A, B, C is in line and I'm tight onto the anchor. So remember those key important things. I've flaked my rope into a pile next to me, and that's to make sure that there's no loops or knots, and also it's not going to get caught up away from me so I can't sort it. That now goes off to Ruby. Ruby's in the safe area, already attached into the adjustable loop. I've identified that this is my stronger side, this is the better braced foot, so I'm just going to move that knot to one side of my spine in line with that side. Now put on the rucksack. Oh, don't forget the gloves. That rucksack is just sat to that one side of the knot now. I'm putting gloves on, and I've got long sleeves on, even though it's an incredibly hot day. I've done that to protect my skin, otherwise I could end up with some pretty nasty rope burns. These gloves have also got sticky palms, so that makes the rope handling really secure. I've got to get the rope around my waist for this body belay. So easiest way to do that and to clear the rucksack is to create a loop down by your feet, and then just like with a skipping rope, you're going to flick it over. It's worth a check here to make sure it's sat in the right place on the bag and it moves smoothly. Okay, now then, this is the brace side, and that is the rope that is going to Ruby, and we call that the live side of the rope. The rope now goes round my waist, and that creates more friction. I'm going to increase that friction on this side, which we call the dead side of the rope. I'm going to take my arm underneath and then place my hand on top, and I can put both hands on this side, slide my hand down and pull the rope around my back. That will allow me to take the rope in and manage it, while I then bring Ruby, or ask Ruby to come over towards the edge to then start going down the steeper ground. So this is a body belay. I'm managing Ruby down through her slippery, slidey step, and I'm being very careful to keep the tension on the rope at all times. That's important so we don't shock load the system, and also it gives confidence to Ruby to allow her to continue down. What I'm making sure then is that on the dead rope I've got a hold with two hands and full fists. I'm keeping this arm locked in, and as the rope moves I'm allowing the rope to slide through. Okay? If she slipped, I need to bring my arm right across my body, and that fully locks the rope off. She can then regain her feet and hopefully continue down her slippery step. At the moment this is relying on Ruby demanding the rope. Now if there's too much friction I might need to give rope. And to do that I bring my other hand onto this rope and then just assist with moving that round. What mustn't happen though is for this hand to come off the dead rope. Okay, so preferably I'm like this. We can use these techniques in ascent as well, so if I needed to bring Ruby up a section, or we are going up a step, then this is how it would look. So again, what I'm doing here is I'm assisting by pulling in the rope around this side as I push out on that side. Now got to do the transfer. Take a full fist, hold above, and then slide back. And keep repeating that action. If they were moving faster than I could take in, I would have to ask them to stop, because again, we don't want slack into this system. Pay close attention to the hand that's holding the dead rope, because it mustn't let go. So we can't allow it to hold on to two ropes, because we've now compromised our grip. And also, it means I can't bring the hand into the lock-off position, which if they suddenly load the rope, I'm going to need to do. This practice really benefits from doing a lot of it, because practice makes permanent. You can do it in a non-threatening environment, like I am here. So in your back garden, up and down the stairs. And it's practice, practice, practice. You need to be able to do it right side, you need to be able to do it left side, and you just become very efficient at it.